Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Man and Music Show with me, Toby Allen, the podcast where we talk to MENA musicians and music industry leaders to find out real life strategies to solve real-time challenges within today's music landscape. Before we jump into this week's show, I want to give you all a free ebook, How to Kickstart Your Music Career. This ebook will help you build the foundations to be able to scale your fans, multiply your streams, and get you more gigs. So if this sounds like something you can think help your music career, then the link is go.maanamusic.com/opt-in. That's go.maanamusic.com/opt-in. I will also put this link in the show notes as well. This week, I wanted to get a different perspective of an artist at the start of their career. We often talk to those that have had perceived success, but this week I wanted to share with you the challenges and successes of someone at the beginning of their journey. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Welcome to another Man and Music show, and this week I'm really excited to have Mustafa come on to the show. Come on down, say hi. How are you?
Hey, beautiful, lovely listeners. I'm excited to be here. It's Mustafa, aka Beats by Hype. Some people may know me as MC Hype. And some of my really close friends, they might know me as QT. That's the old school, back in the day, freestyler, rapper name. But now it's died off. And now I'm just Hype.
Awesome. So, right, let's just kick it off for those who don't know. Where did it all start for you? Where are you from? What did you do when you were a kid? Were you into music?
Yeah, so third culture kid, Egyptian American, grew up here, born in Portland, Oregon, raised in Dubai. I've been here since the 80s of Dubai. So back when there was just one mall, Al Ghurair Mall, and there was absolutely nothing here. And there was this tiny dinky little kids area, play area called Sinbad, and that was my go-to thing back in the day, in VHS videos and just playing in the arcade. And all of a sudden one day I just walked into this store. I think it was called West Star or Mega Store, something like that. It had a star logo. And it was basically the Virgin Radio or Virgin Megastore of back in the day, right? So that's what really made me love hip hop. I just walked into the store and I was testing out these headphones, and they had the song playing from Blackstreet, and it was No Diggity. And that was my first love. And then after that, I was I want to buy this tape. And accidentally, the dude sold me the wrong tape. He sold me a Backstreet Boys tape, which was even better because I fell in love with pop at the same time. And then I started to look for music. I started to dive into where can I find this music? In our region, it's really hard to find it on the radio. I got to put a cassette tape in my radio and just record stuff and make a mixtape. And I was the kid on campus in high school that would make the mixtapes and give it to my girlfriend or give it to my best friend, or try to make the dopest mixtapes. So I came from the mixtape era and the cassette tape era, which, I'm proud to be of that era. And yeah, I'm here now making beats, ladies and gentlemen. So
amazing. So how did you do the actual mixing on mixtapes?
Oh man, it was just it was horrible. It was just prehistoric, super bad. And it was just you'd start off with the song and you try to end it up with the right tone at the end of the next song and have something good, almost like a DJ. I didn't know I was being a DJ by making a mixtape. And then I was oh wow, 5 or 10 years later, I'm hey, I used to DJ, but when I was 12.
I'm still trying to understand, how do you actually record
Oh, like it was like it's like this boombox. It was like a boombox, and I would just set up the FM frequency. And I think back in the day it was 104.8, 104.8. And I would just any hip hop song that would come on, or any pop song or anything that was like hip hop aesthetic, I would just hit record and it would just record from that point. And it was so janky, but like it was so raw. Like it was so janky, but it was so raw.
Yeah. I remember the one thing about cassettes is I remember my first Walkman, and it was a Sony Walkman, and it was blue, and it had buttons on the top that were really advanced to do fast forward and rewind. And I remember that. It's madness. And then, playing with ghetto blasters and things. But I was playing electronica back in the day.
Nice.
Things like Snap, I think rings a bell.
Anyway,
Yeah, Rhythm is a Dancer and stuff like that. But
classic.
And then trying to do a dance, but I'm 6'5", and a gangly white male looking like a camel on ice, really. So
but you're enjoying the music. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. I took that onto dance floors for many years to come. Dance like no one's watching.
Exactly.
Anyway, awesome. So you moved into producing. Obviously you've been DJing, producing.
Yeah. So like,
how did that come about? Producing the actual, sitting in front of I presume back in the day it wasn't. What doors were you? DAWs were you using? Like, how did you get into producing?
So I'll start with saying I've been producing now for about, you could say, since 2014. And before 2014, it was just me using Audacity for a very, very long period of time. And I don't consider Audacity a DAW, but a lot of people say that, oh yeah, you can still use it like a DAW. And I did use it back in the day without knowing, like, just to mix like tracks, or just to create a new version of a track, remix tracks. And that's what I'd use back in the day when I had zero knowledge and YouTube wasn't so in our face right now with technology, and it wasn't as high speed like now. It's just like everything's HD, right? So with a lot of tutorials from YouTube and like how like the beat making community is starting to become like a thing now, right? So I just started by buying the equipment, which my first like piece of machinery for making music was a Machine Micro, and I was using at the time the Machine DAW, which came proprietary for that Native Instruments device, right? I started learning how to make, chopping samples and how to sample, and the minute I made or released my first track, which was basically my rendition of Lady by Majo. I remixed that track and I chopped it up, and I started to notice like a big reaction in the Dubai scene. Like all my peers were like, hey, keep going. You're onto something here. You're like a chopping god. And I'm just like, you know what? People are just buttering my toast, And I started to then dig deep into it, and I started getting like MIDI keyboards and started watching more tutorials on YouTube. And I started trying to figure out like, okay, like how do I sidechain? How do I EQ? Do I need plugins? What's a plugin? What is a DAW? Which I just jumped into it with zero knowledge, right? So I'm just trying to learn everything from scratch. And as I'm learning, I'm creating my sound. So I later discovered that my sound was actually lo-fi, and I didn't even know that it was lo-fi until like someone said, hey, like, do you want to be on my lo-fi playlist? And that was Big Hass. And I joined his lo-fi playlist to find out that, hey, like, dude, you need to create like a Spotify, and you need to do like all your marketing. And I come from a marketing background, but I just never got into music marketing. And this was the perfect opportunity for me to just shine marketing wise. And I started exploring these new techniques, these new strategies, and like what do you call them? The DSPs, which are like the digital service providers or digital streaming providers. I forgot the name exactly, but
it's funny you say that. I call them digital sales platforms, and it's completely wrong. It's digital service providers, but to me, they're just online shops. So I call them sales platforms.
Yeah. So like I started getting into that, and like it was about a year ago, and I released my first single, which was Jawab. And Jawab was a very, very, very melancholy, very sad, very depressing lo-fi beat, which is like typically what every lo-fi should sound like, right? And it was a completely original rendition, a composition that I made. And it had a story behind it, which was basically just me creating like this love letter to a person that's gone, like a person that's gone from my life, and I want them to come back. But then I come to terms with myself, and I come to terms with the space I'm in, and I understand, okay, I can't ask, for the impossible, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's the feeling, that's the vibe behind Jawab. Jumping straight into it, I started to think of like, okay, I need to monetize my music. I need to start doing more instead of just putting it on Spotify and just having it just sit there, or putting it on SoundCloud, which I did primarily. Most of my stuff was on SoundCloud, which I don't recommend any producer to start off by doing that. I say go straight to Spotify and Rami and all digital platforms, because
I was going to say why. Can you just your experience? That's a great bit of knowledge there. But what was your experience with going straight to SoundCloud?
So my experience with going straight to SoundCloud instead of finding a DSP like Distrokid. So SoundCloud was a platform for me to just kind of like showcase my art. And if you think of it as a gallery, this was the gallery that nobody would just show up to unless you invited like your close friends. And you have to work really hard to invite your close friends to get them to this gallery, this art gallery. And you like really, really care about your art pieces, and you're like super passionate about your art pieces. If that's the case, then you don't want to invite them to a gallery where no one's watching. You want to invite them to a very, very big museum where people pay money to actually, go check out the music. And sometimes people will stumble across your music on accident, on bigger platforms like the DSPs, such as Spotify and Rami and so forth. Now, the perk of being on these platforms is you get paid. You get paid for having your art being displayed, versus being on SoundCloud where you have like a basic free subscription. You're not going to get paid. You're just going to have, your art piece just hanging up like this, and it's just great. It's nice to look at, but you're not getting any kind of sense out of it, or any kind of return on investment. Now the ROI, or return on investment, I started to like look into it as a producer a year after I started placing my music on Spotify, or on the DSP, which is distributed to everything, right? So the reason why I looked into it is because I want to create like a secondary income. I want my peers to consider me equal to or greater. Maybe if I'm greater, I can inspire others, right? To each their own. Obviously, there's no greater, lesser. It's all art at the end of the day, right? But like, if you are being looked at as a community leader in your thing or in your niche, then I think you're technically greater than the niche of other niches, right? So this is all I'm going to say about SoundCloud versus, like, let's simplify DSPs to Spotify. A song on Spotify will probably get me less than, let's say if I'm doing so much work or less work, I'll probably get like a minimum $10 out of this whole thing within a year, right? If I'm doing zero work, zero marketing, I'm going to walk away with at least $10. If I'm marketing so hard on SoundCloud and telling everybody, hey, get my SoundCloud, and there's nothing, it's just views, it's just plays, and that's mainly because I don't have a pro account. And why would you limit yourself to a pro SoundCloud account when you can limit yourself to a pro Spotify and Rami, Deezer, and all of these accounts? Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube Music, Snapchat, all these names like Instagram. My music is now on all these platforms, mainly because I took my stuff seriously and I wanted to go to the next level.
Amazing. So let's just rewind. There's two points that I picked up there. You said Distrokid. Why? Why not the others?
So I looked into Tunecore and CD Baby, and initially, as a starting artist, I wanted to spend a certain amount of money, and I didn't want to spend too much money to where I would like not be able to break even, right? Or at least get a decent return on investment. My initial investment into DSPs or Distrokid was approximately, I think in the beginning was like $12 or $13 for the yearly contract or membership. And then I changed into a slightly more premium bundle because it allowed me to label my tracks under my record label. So it wouldn't be a Beats by Hype under 1234XYZ record label, right? It would be under Beats by Hype by Wasta Records, which is basically the way I'm branding it, right? And this is technically me starting off doing this project as a start off so I can later down the road get other artists on my label and have them go through my funnel, which is my Distrokid. Because the way I see it is the more you have on one Distrokid account, the more you can actually get back.
Have you had any issues with Distrokid, just personally?
Zero.
Customer service all good? Labeling with the Arabic okay? I'm just...
honestly, I haven't...
I'm sitting on the fence here. I don't know any...
Yeah. I've heard a lot of the issues with the Arabic. I've heard a lot of the issues from my peers when it came to payments and some of the customer service issues. But you know what? I must be a very lucky guy because I'm not having any of these issues. And to be honest, when it comes to labeling things in Arabic, I'm just labeling it in English. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, if you're an Arabic singing, speaking, rapping artist, I think the best bet is to go through a label and not to go through, you know, a DSP. Mainly because if you go through even to get services, small services from a record label, you're going to get yourself out to the right channels, mm-hmm. to the right people, mm-hmm. Because that target demographic is very niche. DSPs, they don't do the niching for you. They just throw you out there, right? But if you do know that, okay, yes, my goal, my target is to be an Arabic singing individual, then yeah, you probably want to have a conversation with like Rotana or like somebody like Universal and see like what they can do for you in terms of services versus of like, oh, let's go and get my track on a DSP and see how that works.
Gotcha. Awesome. One more point that I want to rewind slightly, which I thought was fascinating, and I'm a big believer in it, is understanding that you're a musicpreneur, that it's a business.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of just being an artist and having a smoke in a studio and everything done for you. Right. How important, when did you recognize, and how important is that to you, your understanding that I'm running my own business here.
So if you can recall, like we met on Clubhouse. Okay. And I think it was Clubhouse that did it for me. I think Clubhouse is what made me start to look at the glass half full. And I wanted to fill that glass up like all the way to the top. And it fueled me because now I'm exposed to A&Rs. I'm exposed to people that are professionals in the industry. I'm starting to understand, okay, wow, this is a completely different like approach than what I had in mind. Like I was all about, hey, I want to create art and just be an artist. And then I was like, oh, there's dollar signs. Like I could turn this into an income. I can literally leave my day job and like do this. Why not? Why not give it a shot? Why not give it a try? I'm still like not like, I'm not making like $100 or $10 yet, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm on the verge of getting there, you know what I'm saying? But what I want to do, what I want to be able to do, and I've said this on many interviews, I want to be able to reach my first million through streams. Like that's my goal. My goal is to get to a million like dollars, dirhams, whatever it is. I just want 1 million strictly, purely through streaming and streaming my music.
Okay, how are you going around that? How are you going to get there? What's your thought process on this?
My thought process is, okay, expose yourself as much as possible. Do a lot of interviews, do a lot of talking, expose yourself to blogs, music blogs, and then just constantly have these milestones that you're vocal about on social media, which I am. My last track, which I just released in the beginning of this month of April, it's called Christopher. And Christopher, I released it and it's now at 3,000 plus streams on Spotify. And I think I'm starting to get the hang of this instead of like, oh, let me make a track a year ago and just let it simmer and just think it's going to magically pick up. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of effort. Like I have to reach out to curators. I have to reach out to playlisters. I have to reach out to music bloggers. And it would make a huge difference if my artwork was different and genuine. If I had, if I had an actual marketing team that was doing it for me, like I'm sure 110%, if I had a team behind me, my visual content would be amazing and I would get at least double what I'm getting right now, like 6 to 10K streams, only by doing visual content because that's king right now. There's also like a method to the madness. And you know what's funny is I feel like I might be advertising Spotify a lot during this conversation, but like what I'm starting to notice from Spotify is it's giving you the tools from, you know, Spotify as an artist, as an app. There's an app called Spotify for Artists. Now, the minute you post a track, you can actually like, or pre-post it, like you start a campaign of having a song being distributed, right? So you can actually pitch this track or this song, podcast, whatever it is, you can pitch it to playlisters, and the best time, Spotify says in their blogs, in their, you know, helping guides that they put on their website, which they have all this great informative stuff to help you succeed. They say that you need to put your stuff 4 weeks in advance so that the playlisters get to hear it, so they can understand, okay, this is going to work with this playlist, or I should put it under the lo-fi for Arabs, or I should put it under release radar, or I should put it under top 40 or pop. So knowing the method to the madness, and I'm starting to like educate myself more and more and more and more and more. The more I dive deep, I think it's really impacted my music right now in terms of numbers. And I think that's going to project me forward. In terms of strategy, I don't necessarily have like a crazy strategy. I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make music, focus on the music. And then the minute I'm done with making music, I feel like it's the right kind of vibe I want to put out. Okay, now it's time to strategize. I need to put this out 4 months, like 4 weeks in advance. I need to reach out to music bloggers such as like Musiv. I'm going to name drop people right now. Musiv, Undefined Creativity, which they support talent, local talent. You have Rap DXB. So all these platforms that are talking about local talent, and they're like, hey, check this guy out. He's doing stuff. Reach out to these people, because as an artist or as a DJ, podcaster, anything to do with audio content, and you want to get like some money out of it, this is what you need to do. This is the step one. Make music, make your audio content. Step 2 is you need to start creating a strategy. Step 3 is you need to execute that strategy. Step 4 is reap the benefits of what you're sowing and just sit back and relax and chill.
Step 5, repeat.
Yes, repeat.
How important do you think that advertising for streams, paid ads to get you more eyes and ears onto your music? How important is it to you, and how much do you invest yourself?
So yeah, the where I'm standing right now is I haven't really invested anything at all in, paid ads to boost my, my presence online, or to boost my music online, or to get me in front of the right people. I've strictly gone organic for now, mainly because I'm trying to focus on the music. I've fell into this deep hole before where my mind is just scatterbrained in every direction, where I have this marketing mind, and I have this music mind, and I have this business mind, and I have this mind that's like, oh, I want to get like something out of this mind. And I'm just trying to quiet all of them down and just have the music mind just talk for a moment, and have each of these minds discuss, have a proper discussion. And I'm at the point where now the business mind and the marketing mind are actually having a discussion, and they're getting along fine with the music mind, but I haven't really sat down with music mind and business mind hand in hand, mainly because I don't think it's the right time for it. I think the right time will show itself, just as, a lot of things have unfolded for me so far. And yeah, I'm not in a rush. Because I can't really rush something that I don't know that's good or bad yet. You know what I'm saying? So far, I'm happy with the experience. I'm happy with the journey. The music sounds good. I'm creating and I'm enjoying creating. Yes, there's a few like blocks here and there, especially when I'm making only one genre. And this is probably gonna like raise another question. So yeah, I'm starting to make multiple genres now, other than lo-fi. So now I'm starting to venture out into different genres, and I have a release that's coming out on the 21st of May, and this is going to be a UK drill / grime vibe, which is completely different from lo-fi, or completely different than the two singles that I've put out. And it's high energy, complete opposite of what I've done. And mainly because I want to see, okay, like the audience that I have right now, are they going to appreciate this? Are they going to be okay with this? And at the same time, I kind of want to weed out the audience that's not okay with this, because I kind of want to put myself in a position where I can control the music that I'm putting out, instead of, they want a specific type of flavor. And I feel like I'm a guy that's got different kinds of flavor of barbecue. It's not one thing.
Amazing. Before we round up, I just want to say, how important is social media to you? If it's a free platform and you're not investing, yet, and you're seeing what works for you, which I think is great, and playing the long game. But is social media a big thing for you?
Yes, it's a big thing for me. Mainly as a DJ, I've definitely used social media to boost my presence and to boost myself as a DJ in the public eye. Now, in terms of being a producer, I don't want to do that, mainly because I've already established myself already as a DJ. So doing that and then becoming a producer is kind of like just fluid. But yeah, definitely social media is very, very important to me. I use it on a day-to-day basis. When it comes to me investing in social media to get my production up or my music production to the level where I want it to be, it's definitely going to get there. Or my presence as an artist, it'll definitely get there. I'm very confident that that's going to happen because you can't, the proof's in the pudding. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. It's a trend. So these trends do happen on social media every single time, as long as you know the right method to the madness.
Mustafa, it's been an absolute honor to have you on here. I've really enjoyed listening to have a fresh look at certain topics. Just to round off, where can people find you on social media, or if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so people can find me on @mc.hype, HYPE, and that's on Instagram. And the minute you get to my Instagram, you can click on the link in the bio. It'll take you to all my, music platform accounts. And in my next phase, I'm going to start incorporating news in my link tree, which is the link that's in my bio, so that you can actually stay up to speed. And most likely there's going to be a newsletter coming out soon. I am going to start working on merch and distributing merch for free the minute I start creating the newsletter, which it's not free, it's a giveaway. So that there's a difference, between free and giveaway. It's going to be a giveaway for my subscribers to my newsletter. And hopefully that's going to be a thing that I'm going to do soon, not later, but sooner.
Mustafa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Toby. I really appreciate you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
That's all for today's episode of the Man and Music Show. Thank you for listening, and I hope you got a lot of valuable information from it. If you liked this episode, then please make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes, and if you could leave a review, it really helps with the growth of the podcast. Lastly, if you're a musician or music producer and want to join the region's thriving online music community and learning hub, then head on over to our Lab Musica Facebook page. Until next time, take care, keep safe.